Really real. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This is for The Sopranos, Season 3, Episode 8. Matt, have you heard the good news?
I have heard the good news. I was told 2 days ago when I watched this. Yeah.
Yeah, he has risen. He has freaking risen.
He has risen.
We're here to and Matt, will you have a drink with me? Will you have a drink with me?
Sure. It's not actually alcohol, but I'm gonna drink.
Thank you. See, that's how you do it, Ralphie. That's how you do it. The boss asks you. No, I'm your boss. The boss asks you if you want a drink.
You're my boss here.
I guess technically I am like a boss that doesn't pays you with hugs. But basically, we're here tonight to talk about this episode, Season 3, Episode 8. He is risen. The main thing I learned about this episode, getting ready to talk about this one tonight, Matt, and I'm not ashamed to say it, was I always thought this episode was called He Has Risen, not He Is Risen. And when I was writing it out, I kept thinking I was screwing up the typing of it. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in this episode. But if you haven't been with us on one of these before and you want to enjoy the fun, jump into the live motherfucking chat and share your thoughts about it. But we're going to be watching the episode live. We're going to be syncing up on our HBO Go's. So if you have, or HBO Go, HBO Max. If you have HBO Max or you have The Sopranos anywhere and you want to watch along with us, we're going to babble for a little bit here at the beginning about this episode and about the Sopranos stuff in general. Feel free to go grab it, queue up the episode, or we'll give you enough context to talk about it. Also, if you haven't seen The Sopranos, full spoilers for everything that happens throughout the 7 seasons, 6.5 seasons, 6.5 seasons of The Sopranos.
Yeah, 6 and something.
Whatever. So the main...
Listen, I got to talk about real quick non-Sopranos things before we get into this. Because I thought you were going to give me that opportunity, then you went right into it.
I know. First of all, there were too many funny little intro points to this episode.
Everyone that's in the chat, just so everyone knows, if anyone doesn't know, yesterday was Phil's birthday, so please add that into the chat. Wish him a happy birthday, everything else. He's miserable about it because we just realized how old we are.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Secondly, R.I.P. James Grodin passed away today. If anyone here has never seen, I know he's famous for most of the people in the chat probably for Beethoven and stuff. He was in a couple great movies before that. Midnight Run, one of the best movies of the 1980s. If you've never seen that, Robert De Niro, definitely go see that movie. Yeah, he was 86. I didn't realize he was that old.
Charles Grodin, you mean?
What did I say?
James Grodin.
Did I say James Grodin?
You did, but it's
maybe I was hoping it was James Woods. No, it's Charles Grodin, 100%. I didn't mean to say James Grodin.
Oh no, that's why I was surprised.
Charles Grodin.
I was like, who are you talking about for a second? But the funny thing about Midnight Run is when I think Midnight Run might have been the very first thing I ever saw Robert De Niro in. And from that point on, I kept thinking he was going to be a comedian, that he'd always be in comedy movies. So when he came back and finally did Meet the Parents again, they were like, Robert De Niro does comedy. I was like, he already did comedy.
This, and you're like, yeah, this is the guy I know.
Yeah, this is the De Niro. This is more the De Niro I know. And so he also did a movie called The King of Comedy, which was an early Scorsese movie, which influenced the movie The Joker later on by Todd Phillips from 2019. Was it 19 or 20? So absolutely funny guy, super hilarious dude. When also a really good guest for David Letterman or Johnny Carson back in the day. He'd be someone that would come there and play being a pest. So I always liked Charles Grodin, especially in Midnight Run. I think he's a pretty fucking hilarious dude.
And I have to tell the story, Phil, and I didn't tell you this at all when we were talking before this. This is just a weird thing that happened to me yesterday. Sorry, I'm going to sidetrack everyone for 5 minutes. So if you have anything to do, just go leave. So when I moved to Vermont 2 years ago, one of the first things I found up here was I was looking through Craigslist to buy furniture, and someone put an advertisement in looking for someone to play poker. And I said, this is fantastic. I'm going to find a poker game. So I went and started playing this poker game up here. This is back in 2019. And I am the youngest person in the poker game by a million years. Everyone there is 75 years or older. They're ancient. It's actually in a senior housing building, but it's the best poker game I've ever played in. It's one round of Hold'em, one round of Omaha, and Fast and Furious. They take it very seriously. There's no talking. It's great.
You better watch out that Jackie Jr. doesn't show up all cranked up because it could be a problem.
Seriously. So I played 3 times back in 2019. Then COVID happened. They still wanted to have games. I'm like, dude, you guys will die. So I didn't play for an entire year. And now this last weekend, I went and played there on Sunday of this week. We played for 7 hours straight. It is hardcore. And there's a guy next to me who was sick. When he came in, he was like very sick. He had heart conditions. They told me about him. I'd never met him before. So my first time playing with him was this Sunday. And the guy's like, he's probably 85 years old. He like at one point they had to like bring him out almost in a wheelchair because he's like really short of breath. And I'm like, this is crazy. As he's leaving, he goes, hey, give me your phone number. I have a poker game every Tuesday night. You ain't want to be interested in. I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm thinking the guy's never going to call me. Calls me last night. No, he calls me last night at 8:00, telling me all about his poker game. And we'll just say for the sake of argument, this guy's name is Rod. His name really is Rod. Who cares? And the guy whose name poker game I used to play at, we'll say his name was Jim. It's Jim. So Rod calls me last night. He's like, hey, yeah, it's Rod from the game. You know, listen, I have this game Tuesday nights. I think you'd be a great fit for it. We play this. Tell me all about the game, all this other stuff. 8:00 last night. All right, that's great. And fine. I told him I have this on Tuesday nights. So I said, maybe every other Tuesday I can play. I get an email from Jim this morning. Rod died last night.
Oh, no.
He talked to me. I may be the last person he ever spoke to. And I'm like totally freaked out by that fact that I might be the last person this guy ever talked to. I only met him one time. I sat next to him.
He's hanging out with big pussy. He's hanging out with big pussy now.
He is. But then, yeah, that's what happened. I'm playing with people that are literally older than my mom. Like that's who I'm playing poker with. And the guy drops dead after he calls me and invites me to his game, which is supposed to be tonight. So wild.
So rest in.
Now I have no idea if I'm the last one they ever talked to or not. I'm freaked out by it.
Well, that story was a very good birthday present, Matt.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I love it. It sounds like a surprise. That sounds like it should be a Sopranos episode, really.
It really should be. That's the thing.
That's like a Polly Walnuts kind of thing. We're
all like older than Feach LaMotta. That's what's wild about it.
So everyone in the live chat, thank you so much for the happy birthday stuff. Jay, we got SM down in the live chat. We got Tamara, we got Oakley, we got Jake Cruz, we got Saul Goodman, we got, of course, Jay. Thank you for the happy belated birthday. Says Meet the Parrot sucks. Many blessings, Tamara. I will take a shot for you. Jake Cruz says your phone is haunted, Matt.
Probably is.
So this episode of The Sopranos is very much, it's another sort of setting up things later to come. There's a lot of
2 episodes ago was like this, right? Last episode we had no. What was last episode? Did something big happen last episode? Or was that 2 episodes ago?
Jay asked the most important question. So Matt, the poker game isn't happening then?
Yeah, I was all excited. It was like the perfect like you won't know anything about what my perfect ideal poker game would be, but that's what the guy was gonna have. So yeah, no game. I guess I'm not missing out on it by being here. So
huge thanks to Merle Davis in the live chat for the birthday gift. Merle Davis was sweet enough to send me a little birthday message with a little code for some video game fun. Thank you, Merle Davis. You're fucking amazing. Very much appreciate that. And for that we're gonna play. For that, I gotta.
Shut the fuck up, Pam.
I will shut the fuck up for you, buddy. Thank you so much, Merle Davis. So this episode of The Sopranos, again, yeah, it's sort of a setup episode. Stuff does happen. It sort of completes the Ralphie arc, and we have Gigi dying on the Pissadoo. But
thank you, Saul. Saul just told us what happened. Last episode was the cancer episode. I couldn't remember if that was the one after Ralphie. Ralphie like killed the girl 2 episodes ago. The Dr. Kennedy one was last episode.
Yeah, Dr. Kennedy. Sometimes I forget about this whole section of episodes because Pine Barrens get so much love in this season, and then the 3 episode stretch that we talked about a couple of weeks ago with the 3 extremely violent tentpole kind of Soprano episodes. So these episodes are great, and especially this one. I like this one a lot better than last week's, the Doctor one, 2 weeks ago. I think this was a better, more well-acted episode. You learn more about the interworkings of mob stuff between him and Ralphie. You get to see way more of Syl. And I do have to talk a little bit about Talking Sopranos. I never realized this at the time because I wasn't necessarily following the East Street Band. But because of him rejoining the East Street Band after season 1, part of the reason why Syl didn't get more to do throughout the series was he was simultaneously touring and flying back on breaks on his tour dates where they would make special situations for him to film. That's why he wasn't in as many scenes. I definitely recommend everyone watching this past week's episode of Talking Sopranos to hear Stevie Van Zandt talk, because he's fucking, it's fun to listen to him talk, and you get a lot more inside information about Syl. So I like that we got a Syl scene in this. Syl telling Tony he's wrong.
Yeah. And not only was Syl doing that, Phil, you and I, neither one of us are Bruce Springsteen fans.
Not really, no.
they're also, that's like the hardest working band like in the history of the world.
I have
so,
respect.
Like, he's out there
Yeah.
killing that, you know.
I have respect for Springsteen and the E Street Band, and as a drummer, I think Max Weinberg's a very good drummer, and I think Stevie Van Zandt's a great. I like his solo stuff better than Springsteen. It's Springsteen I don't love. I think he's a little cheesy to me when I watch him, but I know he's a talented fuck, and he throws himself out on stage and goes crazy. It's like certain actors, you know the actor's good, but you're just like, I don't like the way they perform. There's something Springsteen's music doesn't really connect with me.
Or the movie sucks, but they did a great job acting. You know,
Exactly.
it's just not your thing. Yeah.
This episode shows what a heartless bastard Syl really is when he dismisses Tracy's death. Exactly, Saul. This in that scene where we get to later, and we're going to be watching this episode. The scene
That too.
that too. Exactly. He and the girl. Yeah, but Tony, she's not your blood relation. She's a whore. You know, all these reasons.
Not your guma.
She's not your guma. You're not related to her by blood or any way. It's very rare that someone can get away with telling Tony, even Junior, that who he takes advice for more serious, doesn't often tell Tony he's completely wrong. He has to talk about it because that Soprano ego.
Well, part of that also is that Tony never trusts Junior to not be trying to pull one over on him. I think he actually does trust Syl's advice to do the right.
1,000%. But Syl still voices it in a very specific way. And the He Is Risen stuff talks about a lot of different characters within this episode. It's not just about Janice's, the funny line from Janice's narcoleptic boyfriend. It's
Gigi passing on. It's Ralphie.
He has risen.
You know?
Yeah, it's Ralphie. He has risen. It's Tony rising up through the ranks. Early, it's Jackie Jr. rising up.
Jackie Jr. Something else is rising with Jackie Jr. when he's in bed with Meadow. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't even picture Syl in a band. It's weird when you think about it. He doesn't look much like Syl when he's playing with the East Street Band, but it's one of those weird things. Like, you can't imagine that the guy that plays Chuck on I was just going to do a David St. Hubbins Chuck from Better Call Saul. It's like when people don't know what Spinal Tap is and you show them pictures of Michael McKean singing in Spinal Tap, you're like, wait, that doesn't make sense. You know, I remember talking about Better Call Saul every week, and, you know, it's going, big bottom. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I play like a clip. I'm like, that's Chuck. That's so there's some people that it's hard to kind of connect them with some of the talent skills that they have. Tony fucking Pajamas. I don't know why, Matt. Every time I read the name Tony Pajamas, I get
really fired up.
I do. Tony Pajamas sounds to me like a forgotten about cereal mascot of some sort. You know, like Tony the Tiger, Tony Pajamas. He sells pajamas. He's like jumping around. I'm Tony.
Or he sells like the generic knockoff cereal that's at Market.
Yeah. Like Fruit Hoops instead of Fruit Loops or something like that. Yeah. But great.
This episode also gets our first glimpse of the most important love interest outside of Carmela in Tony's life that we see. Certainly the most memorable one.
Yes, and
maybe not most important, but
and the best acting performance. But another one of the nominees for best acting performance from a guest actor on the series. She won a Academy Award, I believe, for this performance, and
Emmy,
an Emmy. Yeah, thank you. And she's an exceptional actress, and she offers so much right from the beginning when you first see her. There's so many, and they were talking a little bit about this in Talking Sopranos. There's so many little signs that this is going to go bad. The way that she is in the office, and the way that the office feels closed in, and they shoot it in a way to make the office seem extremely small, to the point when Tony shows up at the car place to dealership to take the car out, Michael Imperioli pointed this one out, that they're going wrong. They're going against an arrow. So to make it seem like the relationship is going in the wrong direction right from the start. So
she's everything Carmela isn't. She's literally, so much of it is the opposite. It's great.
She's everything Livia is. And yes, on your mother's birthday, Lady Danish, on your mother's birthday. Yeah, what kind of creature smokes weed on his mother's birthday? Was it his mother, or was it his grandmother's funeral? What kind of creature?
No, it was. When the hell does that get brought up?
No, the weed is the grandmother's funeral, and then it's later when he sneaks into the school and trashes the thing with Lady Gaga and his friends. Trashes the pool area, and
then it also comes up when Christopher's intervention. I know for a fact Carmela, you were high at my mother-in-law's funeral.
You were laughing your ass off, like going on and on. Oh, Carmela. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone that's popping in the live chat tonight. You guys are awesome. Jake, Killmonger, Tamara, Merle, Saul, Oakley, Lady Downish, Tony Pajamas. Sorry, Tony. I'm hoping I'm not.
Saul, don't encourage me to sit here and defend Tony, because you know I'm going to do that. You know I'm going to sit here and defend him. So please.
Tony really is a good guy.
He really is a good guy. I 100%
Look how he was willing to buy Ralph a drink even when they were on bad terms. He was putting the work in. Oh my God. Okay, so let's waste no more time. Let's get into this episode. So, but to that point, I do agree that Tony in that moment was doing what ultimately Ralphie would have wanted. That was his version of an apology. He accepted that Ralphie didn't walk over to him right away. And this is like one of the first scenes in the episode. So to get a little head start here, he walks right over to him. I mean, he lets him take his time walking over. He comes over to him, ignores what Polly says immediately, and then gives him a shot to say, okay, let's let bygones be the bygones and just go on with this thing. And Tony's way of apologizing was offering that drink. And Ralphie decided to take the opportunity to go, I can get something out of this, is what I think Ralphie was thinking. He's like, Tony fucked up, the boss fucked up, not about what I fucked up. I can spin this. I had a coke problem and she didn't have my baby, all this stuff that's not true.
I think at that point in the beginning with the drink, the gears are still turning if he's going to make a move at that point.
Yeah.
And he's still at that point right there. It's like, wait a minute, is this what would happen if I
actually did something?
And then what is Johnny going to say if I bring that up to him?
And that's the question. I have it on the title of this video. I kind of want to put out there at the beginning here, leading through this episode, because there's a lot of stuff going on here. So we're not going to focus too much on this. But the question to ask the chat: what is Johnny Sack's agenda working with New Jersey? Is it just money? Is it just control? But he seems to sometimes be a agent of peace, but at times he puts chaos. Did he move to New York specifically at Carmine's request to keep an eye on Team Soprano? Is he doing it as a way of increasing his power set by making sure that they're in his pocket, so he wants control? I don't have an answer to that, but it makes me wonder every time I see these episodes what the leading up to eventually with Polly. He does a similar thing with Polly later, where he makes Polly think that he has a chance to join the family, join the New York family. So I always wonder, what the hell is Johnny Sack? The actor does such a good performance of hiding it while making it think like he always has an agenda. So it's tough to pick it apart, and I have to say,
he always seems like he's in control.
Yes, always.
Except for one time.
Except for the end.
The whole thing happens with Ralphie, and he sort of loses his shit.
Or when he cries at his daughter's funeral, but I'm daughter's wedding when the feds take him off. But that's later.
Yeah, but you and I would have cried, but we're not real men.
I cry every day. Okay, Matt. Here we go. We've got.
Time out. Now my phone went dead. All right, I'm good.
Okay, you good? Here we go, everyone. If you want to watch with us, we're gonna do 3, 2, 1, then go. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, I think we might be good, Matt. I didn't hear anything on your end. That makes me think that it's like.
My phone's muted. That's why.
Oh, you fucking asshole. So here we are. We're starting the episode. Also want to send special love out to Phyllis as always. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thank you again for all the support you give us here and the messages you send me and the messages you tell me to send to Matt. Very much appreciate it. Oakley says, I think Johnny Sack's interests were in making peace between the important people in the family. Also, those interests align with making money in this case. So yeah, I think it really comes down to money more than anything. But I think it's does Johnny's, I wish it got explored a little bit more what Johnny Sack's early relationship is with Tony to make him have like a sort of base friendship, because you get to learn.
They were always meeting together. Like they sort of they're probably the same age. Johnny's a little older than him, but they're.
So maybe he met him, and I'm doing headcanon stuff here. Maybe he met him as Carmine's young up-and-comer with Johnny Boy as his young up-and-comer, because something Johnny Sack said in this episode made me think like he dealt with his uncle dealt with Junior and Johnny Boy as well, because he said the Sopranos always have to vilify somebody. It's an interesting take on The Sopranos from an outside perspective. The Sopranos always have to vilify somebody. They're the same way. The father, the junior, he's the same way too. They all have to like have some sort of person that they go, this is the source of all my problems.
Johnny's also a huge hypocrite later, and we'll see. We'll get into
that later. Yeah, we will. So, Tony Pajamas.
Forgot. I just watched it. I forgot this is how it starts.
Oh, I forgot it started with the Jackie Jr. Rave scene where we see how much of a fucking scumbag Jackie Jr. is in this scene with Meadow. He's like, because you get the feeling that if that was any other girl that was passed out in front of him at a party, he wouldn't do the honorable fucking fuck you, Jackie Jr. You are a piece of shit scumbag fuck that honestly deserved what happened to you because you're a pompous jerkhole that was a fucking douchebag. No, he made stupid
How do you
mistakes.
really feel, Phil?
That's how I really feel, Matt. Fuck Jackie Jr. Fucking predator. Jackie Jr. is a fucking predator.
By the way, hey, listen, he's doing a great thing for her, for Meadow's roommate.
Oh, yeah.
It's the happiest we've ever seen her.
She's happy.
She was pulling her hair out last time we saw
Dude,
her.
her serotonin levels are fixed. She's not going to have any problems.
Through the roof.
Oh, just because this is basically the last time we see her, except for in the breakup scene, and she's still all right, doesn't mean she's not going to have some... I mean, everything we've learned about this girl, you know...
She still thinks he's at Rutgers at this point, right?
Yes, everyone does. He tells her, I think... I've watched ahead a couple of times when I've watched...
Rutgers chapter. Since freshman year, that's what
I think he tells her in a couple of episodes. There's one moment in the next episode where I think she writes a paper for him, and then I think he drops out after that semester, or he might even still be lying to her there. But someone asked me, it might have been Saul Goodman, was asking me who my least favorite characters were on The Sopranos, and I hate to say it because I think the kids do a great job trying. Any storyline that involves AJ or Meadow, I kind of go like this with. And it's not about them as actors. I'm not talking about them as It's just there's something about the way that those stories are written compared to some of the other stories in the show are written that I just automatically zone out. And I don't feel like the stakes there's not enough depth to the way it's written. I can't quite explain it. But those are the characters that are probably my least favorite on the show, where sometimes on rewatches I go, okay, time to check my phone during a Meadow scene.
Merle, thank you. Good night. Oakley.
Love you, Merle.
He wasn't going to do anything to Meadow because it's Meadow. Like, Tony would literally kill him if he did anything and he found out about it. But I think the point Phil had was that I think Phil thinks if that was someone whose dad wasn't Tony Soprano, that he may do something. He's also known her since they were like kids. Like,
he just has a look on his face when he's walking out of there. Like, if this was any other girl, I would be a predator in this situation. Yippee, yippee. Yeah. It's like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Yeah, I was glad.
Saul, you're not going to bait me into defending Jackie Jr. By the way, I'm on your team there.
I love this scene. I love the switch in the music right there as Ralphie comes over and we get the Quentin Tarantino spaghetti western music, and he calls him Anthony too. They pointed that out in the Talking Sopranos, and it's weird. He always
calls him. He's the only one that he calls him Anthony several times. He's always Anthony.
Fucking horrible.
I think part of the Anthony thing is supposed to be.
I know you.
No, but he does know him. Like, he grew up with them. They're the same age. They grew up together. They were friends, and I think part of it is supposed to let us know that because he magically shows up in season 3 and wasn't here before.
Right. No, totally. That would be like you calling me, be like, listen, Philip, I remember you in spelling bees, fucking getting your ass kicked.
Right. You know, it would be like me referencing that. And Anthony's like a formal thing, but also familiar the way that and it differentiates him from everyone else.
Absolutely. No, Gecko, who I believe is watching with us, and thank you, Gecko. So Gecko popped in the chat. Love you, buddy. Popped in the live chat. I think this is Gecko's first watch through, and he says that's my experience as well watching. Don't care for the kids episode. I just don't think they're as fleshed out. I think this was the chance. They were hoping that this was going to be a like Meadow breaking out. They give her a lot to do in a certain stretch here, and I think because they were trying to figure out. Here, everyone drink that's drinking. It's my mention of Livia for the night. I think with the Livia...
Oh, my God. It's all about Olivia to Phil.
With the Livia death, with the actress dying, I think they were trying to figure out how they fill that void on the show. And not with the character-wise. I mean with attention. With the amount of attention and focus they wanted to put on Livia in Season 3. Because in Season 3, it was going to be all about her with the tickets and testifying in court against him. So they were trying to be like, can we have Meadow carry a storyline? Can we have this character carry a storyline?
We haven't seen Janice in like 2 or 3 episodes.
We see Janice tonight. We see Janice tonight.
Oh, I know we see Janice tonight because.
And starting in season 4, they realized, because this was the experiment year, they realized that Janice does better than the kids, and Janice has a lot more storylines season 4 onward.
Oh, she's the best.
She's the best. Yeah, she's the worst because she's the fucking best.
Yeah.
And again, you hear her in interviews, she's nothing like Janice, and it shows how great the Totoros are as actors. And I believe she's Jesus from the Big Lebowski. What's his name? I forget his first name.
John Turturro.
John Turturro's sister. I think. Someone correct me. And
I love that that's what you know him as. He's Jesus, but you're right. He is Jesus.
He is Jesus.
He's been in a lot of.
He's been in a million Coen Brothers movies, but he's fucking Jesus. Okay, this is the scene I was telling about where Syl.
The fact is, though, she was not related to you by blood or marriage. She was not your gumad. Ralphie's a made guy, Tom.
But Syl is a slippery fuck, okay? Paulie calls him on it at one point in time, Matt, and it's true. Syl is a slippery fuck. He makes sure he never commits too much. He's not telling Tony he's wrong. He's telling him about the rules, about what his choices are, all these kind of stuff. He's being careful to be like, never quite side against Tony in the conversation.
That's his job, though.
He's great at that.
The voice of reason.
He's great at that. And there's a video about this that circles around somewhere about how certain guys are just better as number 2s, and Syl is an exceptional good number 2 because he's good at unlike somebody else in the episode that's not good at number 2s and ends up dead. Oh, that was bad. But he's a great number 2. He's a great advisory role, but because he knows not to step too much. You very rarely see him lose his cool in interactions with subordinates. Or other people, like even with Paulie. Like, usually he's pretty calm dealing with Paulie. There's only like 2 or 3 times throughout the series where he loses his cool with Paulie, who I can imagine is infuriating to work with. Like, a guy like Paulie in any work situation would be fucking horrible. So then we couple this with Ralph and his little crew, and Ralph is talking major shit about fucking up Tony. Like, this is why I didn't like the drink.
They're just saying he owes you an apology.
At minimal, an apology. And fuck him. I'll shove a turkey stick up his ass. I mean, I guess we know the future here. Ralph is not afraid of Tony, right?
No, not in the least.
Like, you could say that maybe he was talking himself up here, but all this talk, Matt, like, Ralphie loses the fight, but it's like he backs this shit up. Like, he puts up the best fight we see anyone in the series put up against Bobby, but that was Tony post getting shot.
Bobby got lucky too.
Okay, Tony defender. Bobby got lucky. Bobby got lucky that it was after.
No. Listen,
I can't wait to do that episode. We're gonna do play-by-play on that. Watch Tony get fucking ass.
The difference too is Bobby's fucking enormous. Like Ralphie's half his size. You know what I mean? And isn't scared of that whatsoever.
No, and Ralphie definitely held his own. It makes me wonder if on that boat in the later series, if Tony had tried to go after Paulie, if Paulie could have fought him off, because Tony was not at his top form in that moment. This is a fun scene too, where we see that Hesh is.
We see all the diversity together in one shot,
and we see that Hesh has already found out about Ralphie, and we get the oh yeah, these guys are cold-blooded killers, but they give turkeys to the they're like.
No, they literally stole a truck full of turkeys and gave them to and I'm sure. But see, that guy there, that's the same minister that they needed for other stuff earlier on. He's the stuff cool in the community, in the African American community. He's their in.
And he's the one that him with Zellman. They both are friends and they're both collecting. Yeah. Saul Goodman, we got a couple of stuff in the chat. You guys are amazing. Gex says on my first watch, I'm at the end of season 5. Oh, awesome. He says what makes The Sopranos good is not your typical mob show. It uses psychology to show what it's like to be a mob boss and a dad, son, husband while trying to survive the good of it all. That's why it's been hard to find a traditional mob show or movie since The Sopranos, because it broke it down in a way and broke it apart in a way that it could only be replicated. It would be hard to do another thing, that was taking the mob genre to a different level. That's why the great drama shows since The Sopranos to me are are, I mean, The Wire, but that started around the same time, but would be shows like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, which try completely different things, completely
Even I never watched it. I watched 2 episodes, but even Sons of Anarchy had to go sort of like a different route. Even though you're playing like outlaws, it's
a completely different thing. You couldn't do traditional Goodfellas, Godfather, like the lead up. This was the ultimate pinnacle.
Everything is going to be compared to this. If you try to, it's always going to be like Sopranos.
And that's the thing, Matt. I think it was a pyramid scheme all the way up to the top, where every mob thinks the original Scarface back in the 50s or whatever, the original like all
70s.
The original one, like the one that was about Al Capone. I don't know if it was in the early days of movies and stuff like that. Started the mob thing, and then eventually you got The Godfather, which changed it. Which, and I'm doing a lot of movies in between, but then you have Goodfellas, which all ultimately lead up to this. This is to me, this is the ultimate form. Like ultimate form mafia show movie is Sopranos, and that's to me how it came. So
and you haven't seen. I mean, I don't watch a lot of movies anymore. That I'm seeing new movies, but you don't see someone retrying to do a version of Goodfellas.
No, the only thing you saw was Scorsese doing The Irishman on Netflix. But that's Scorsese. He can literally Scorsese could do it every once, and it's good. Like when you have that kind of a track record with the movies that you've made and all the movies he's made in his life, almost all of them being good movies, great movies.
I just saw Wolf of Wall Street for the first time.
One of my favorite of all of his.
Never seen it.
Dude,
I'd never seen it. Saw it 2 weeks ago.
Dude, one of my favorite of all of Scorsese's movies. I fucking love The Wolf of Wall Street. Well, I mean, horrible shit.
But 3 hours never slows down.
Not for a fucking second, dude. Not for a fucking second. My first watch through at the end of season 5, lots of Janice, lots of Sil. Got to be a good episode, says Oakley. Sil probably only cares about Tracy's death because he can't get his money back. Very fucking true, Saul. I was wondering about that, and I meant to ask that a couple weeks ago, and I might have. I was a little buzzed. Does Ralphie have to pay Sil back that $4,000 because of what he did? Is Sil gonna tax him that money? Probably, because that's all he gives a shit about.
I'm sure he does.
Killmonger.
We just missed the whole thing. Tony put his wife in a very terrible situation where he made her call up Roe and tell her that they can't come, and had to come up with a whole lie, which Ralphie he knows. I wonder if he explains to. Oh, of course he knows. I wonder if he explains to Roe what it really was.
No, in the odd sense of caring, Ralphie saves Roe's feelings and doesn't tell her. He tells Jackie later that Tony had his wife lie to your mother, and he definitely says it exactly like that. Tony lied to your mother. I don't think I would have liked the whole show based on Olivia being the villain. Now that I'm not that I'm glad she's died. It's just better that the show was the way it was, says Killmonger. I think she might have been gone at the end of season 3 if they went that storyline. I think the apex point of season 3 would have been Tony killing his mother, and then you still would have had season 4 and 5 and going in different directions. Personally, I think.
Yako, Donnie Brasco was before The Sopranos.
Was it?
That was, Donnie Brasco, I want to say, was like 97, 98. I worked at Photographics when it came out.
Ooh, I worked at Photographics too. Which department?
Only job I've ever been fired from in my life.
The Vin and Square one, or the
Vin and Square, yeah.
Did you work in photo or video?
I worked there right before you worked at that restaurant that was over there. Because the guy who was my manager got fired and ended up waiting tables.
Yeah. Charlie or something. Whatever. We'll talk about this off air. Well, we're
ruining like the first time we see your girlfriend Gloria here.
So go. Donnie Brasco departed. Come first. Bobby sucker punched Tony. Everyone knows that, Phil. Okay, so this is the introduction, a flag on the play, which is probably the only line read of hers I don't like in all of her performance. Something about the way she says flag on the play I just think it's a badly written line. Yeah, I'll be nitpicky. I just don't like the way I just think it's out of, it seems weird. I don't know.
Oh, but see, Tony has this weird attraction to women that he thinks are very strong in a way that his wife isn't. Like, he knows immediately Gloria is a badass. She's in sales meetings.
And she's like his mother. Like right from the beginning, he senses that without sensing it.
Yeah, she commands like she's in control, and he is. It's the same thing he had for that woman that was in charge of the family over in in Italy. He just has a thing for women with power.
It's hard to believe Ralphie's wife wouldn't have eventually found out, since it seems like everyone was talking about it, says Oakley. And to that point, Rosalie seems like she's really dialed in. And Gecko also adds, as you learn more about Ralphie, you realize what a down-ass bitch Ro is. Ro is one of the, she's cool. She goes with the flow. I really do like Ro. She's my favorite of the mob wives on the show. Like, if you could date any of them, I would want to date Rosalie.
Carmela with this bullshit after
fuck you,
like,
Carmela.
come on.
You hypocrite. Fuck you, Carmela. What's like if you sat on the dime and you wouldn't kiss it or whatever. So I don't think Ralphie, he doesn't say anything about it. I think he holds that to himself. And here we go, right with this shit. Like, Tony basically, this is one of the scenes where she's not quite strong enough to push away his fucked upness. He basically is having her give him advice about killing someone here, and he's not veiling it very well. She needs to know. She's too smart.
It's a part of his life. He knows it. She's also.
She has varying degrees of accepting it, though, and at this point, she's too accepting of him. Like, he's talking about how, thank you for advising me in Sun Tzu's Art of War to help me defeat my enemies in mob wars. You know, basically.
But don't forget, and we learned this again in this episode, how she's still.
That's what I'm saying.
Tony is a weird thing to her. Tony is somehow her
protector.
Her Rottweiler. Her Saint Bernard. We'll use a Charles Grodin reference in honor of Beethoven today. Like her protector.
Now, Saul says, Ralph is charming. I could imagine liking him if I didn't know he beat pregnant women to death.
He's not charming. You saw the way he treated Georgie right before that, just for the sake of humiliating people.
Because Georgie...
Did you not... Saul, you watched him in the room while Vito's brother was dying. You watched him in the room make
He's
jokes
still
about
charming.
He wasn't that smart to begin with.
He's still a charming guy. I agree with him that he has a sense of personality that some of those other guys don't, in the way that he could fake the shit to you in a charming, like, hey, like, you meet him at a dinner party, you see the Ralphie at the dinner party Ralphie when he's like that Ralphie's very charming anecdote story guy having fun with the kids.
If you had to be in a foxhole with one of these people and your life depended on it, the last person you want by your side is fucking Ralphie.
I want Bobby Bacala by my side, I think.
He's a good shot.
He's a good shot. He's quiet.
And if it comes down to you having to outrun the person you're with as your only means to live, I don't have to outrun the bear, Bobby. I just got to outrun you.
Exactly.
Right?
He's quiet. He's quiet too. He knows the woods. I'm going with Bobby. He's the nicest guy of all these dudes.
Yeah.
So, and Tony also slyly, because, and again, Melfi knows all of this. And I think, to go to the end of the episode, I'm pretty sure she recognizes Tony's voice at the end too. Like,
look, she gets weak right here when he says this.
Yeah, dude. And does this lead right into one of my favorite scenes with her? Like, I love all the scenes with her and Elliot.
Yeah.
They're so good. There's like every single scene with her and Elliot. You smug. One of my favorite lines in the entire series is, Elliot, you smug cocksucker. Shut up. Like, I just love the way she rips into him. I don't know. I love Lorraine Bracco. I said this last week as well. I feel like I don't give her enough attention. This is great. This whole is comedy gold. Colonel Sanders? No, Barry Sanders.
What a shame Barry Sanders retired.
God, Jen, this is annoying.
My favorite NFL player of all time, Barry Sanders.
Was Barry Sanders. Great running back. And, I mean, growing up, I was always, from a running back standpoint, a Bo Jackson fan of that era. But the best running back of that era between Bo, Emmett Smith was... Like, there's a bunch of guys of that era that were really good. Thurman Thomas. But the best was Barry Sanders, and it's not even fucking close.
Christian Okoye at the time.
Christian Okoye, Barry Word, who was also on the team. Casey had both those guys. But I'm just remembering my Tecmo Super Bowl right now. But
Roger Craig, don't forget him on the 49ers.
So we great catching at catching. That's where Roger Craig was the best. So right here we see the moment. We see maybe why Tracy's death affected Tony so much, even because he's a psychotic killer. So why would a death of a hula bother him? Because he sees Meadow and Tracy because they're the same age.
Where are you coming up with that from? What guys in this show get killed that deserve it more than her? That don't deserve it more than her?
Deserve it more than her. A lot of the men that I can't believe how everyone is outraged about Tracy's death. For all that she did, she deserved it 10,000 times more. I think generally speaking, the person that deserves death the most on The Sopranos that gets it is Ralphie. I think Ralphie is a piece of fucking shit, and I celebrate the fact that Tony kills him in that moment more than anybody.
Ralphie, Richie, and I don't want to ruin anything for. I'm not going to say the last one for Gecko.
As in outrage deaths, I would say the one that Matt's not going to talk about. But I would also say the
No,
biggest.
you don't know which one I'm talking about.
I would say
I'm talking about a car running over someone.
Okay, I talked shit about this before, but I would say one of the saddest ones for me would be the one that I really feel bad when I think you're supposed to is Jackie Jr. He's an idiot, but he's an idiot because of the way he was raised and that his he didn't get enough discipline. He was too unlike AJ. It's like the parallel with him and AJ and stuff like that. Like all that stuff makes me feel bad for what happened to Jackie.
His dad died when he was like 17 years old, 16 years old. He tried to go to college, but he's not that fucking bright, as we learn in the Scrabble game in like the next couple episodes. Like he couldn't handle college either. He's not smart.
And in fairness, not to get to whether like to plead Oakley's point to a point, so, Matt, if a guy had tortured your kids, you would be charged. She did torture her own kids. She flicked cigarette butts at her kids and all that stuff. I'm not saying that means she deserves her death, but she did some bad things and.
100%. But like.
But no.
I'm trying to think of
I'm trying to think of other characters.
There's not a lot of just random killings in The Sopranos.
No.
She's one of the few civilians. I say civilian, I mean people who aren't in the mob.
No, we don't have to be spoiler free. Not at all.
I just don't want to spoil that one I'm talking about because it's the one where the head gets run over. I mean, the waiter getting killed, that already happened. The waiter getting killed is messed up. That Christopher and Paulie killed the waiter. But yeah.
Hey, Travis. Great to see Travis. So, yeah, I hear what Oakley's trying to say. And as always, we're talking about fucking characters here on a TV show. So I get the fact that she hit Ralphie in that situation. Ralphie is a miserable, horrible piece of shit that did something. And the shockingness of it, I think, is even more emotionally engaging rather than her as a person getting killed.
Notice that Tony,
I think it's how it
happens.
happens.
Of this whole show is the only one who actually cared that she died. Everyone else was more upset that he disrespected the Bing. Because Tony's not a bad guy, Saul. Just letting you know.
Yeah. So Gecko says, I can understand Jackie Jr., but I don't have a ton of sympathy for him. He had resources and good advice all the way through and continued to make bad decisions.
The worst thing that happened to Jackie is in the time when he needed guidance. Tony tried with him. Again, Tony's a great guy. Tried to keep him out of this bullshit. But he had Ralphie. Ralphie was his fucking guiding light here at the end.
He tried to keep him out of his bullshit, but he didn't try hard enough. He could have like taken Jackie and moved him and put him to a fucking junior college in California or away from it all. There was ways he could have.
What do you mean moved him? He's a kid of his own accord, and it's not his fucking son. What's he gonna Phil? That's like my stepfather Steve taking you, who you know, and putting you in a fucking junior college out in California.
If I deserved it and I was fucking with you, maybe.
Who the hell is he?
Okay, let's continue into the chat a little bit. Black Robin, I think a lot of people did. Saul said not even Bobby showed any guilt or empathy about Tracy, which seemed quite odd. No one did. It's because to these fucking pieces of shit, she was just livestock. No. Because she reminded him of Meadow a little bit, or because he has a daughter of the same age. I don't think he cared about her. I think he cared about his own fragile ego, about the fear of losing his own daughter and his own family, because he's a fucking narcissist.
No, let me ask you this. If someone killed a dog there, if someone killed a dog behind the Bing, the same thing's going to happen when no one gives a shit, except one person's going to actually... We see it happen later on with the horse. Tony's the only one that's going to care.
Crocodile tears.
Tony's the only one who's going to care because he's in his soul isn't a terrible person.
Saul says, I actually agree about Jackie Jr., Matt. Tony is not at fault if the guy's a moron. He gave him good advice.
He tried to keep him out because he told his dad that's what he'd do. I think that was the goal for him and for and for Jackie Sr.
This is the moment where Tony decides to have a new Gumar.
Yes.
And he's so fucked up, he talks to Carmela about, he's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to, just to cover his ass, he's already starting in on his plan here, in his way of covering his ass.
I think Tony's kind of turned on that she's crazy too, that she's at a psychiatrist. He knows who he's getting into because he knows his mom belonged to the psychiatrist.
Maybe. That's a good question, Matt. Does Tony completely understand what he's getting himself into right here? So this is the first time I think we meet little Polly. I think they were saying that in the Talking Sopranos. This is the first appearance of little Polly. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of little Polly, but there he is. Still has a daughter of his own, and he didn't care. He didn't care for what it's worth. Very true, Saul. He didn't.
Yeah.
So this is where we get Gigi. Poor Gigi.
Well, Sil more than anyone works with X's and O's and keeps his emotions out of what he chooses to do. Like more than anyone, right or wrong. He's literally like, well, what is the Jedi code say is supposed to happen here? And that's it.
Mafia Rule 138 states that the response here is an apology. You can't have murders happening around the bar or the butcher shop. It isn't just made guys at the bar. You're killing a woman in the parking lot. Bad for business. Bad for business. And that's what basically that's what this all comes down to. And why Ralphie's banned from the place at this point. And then that's Sil's response to it. Yep. That whole situation, all it means is Ralphie's banned, problem solved. Like that's basically his whole thing. Problem solved. I taxed him the $4,000 that he owed me for Tracy because she's fucking livestock to us that we just make fucking money off of because they're not fucking humans. It's essentially just, taking advantage of people. And whether it be businesses like Danny Scatino or gambling problems.
No sympathy. Thank you, Oakley.
I agree with you, Matt, though, about Tony having some moral background.
Dude, Saul, I got someone on my team now. You're done.
Okay, so here we go into the Johnny Sack of it all.
Into the Johnny Sack of it all.
Yeah, let's go deep into Johnny Sack's sack here. So she used to be some dancer, Matt. So it's interesting, like, this is where I don't need a prequel, but I wouldn't mind somehow of getting more flashbacks about like where, especially once Ralphie comes into it later, because obviously Ralphie met Johnny Sack way back too. They have some sort of relationship. It isn't just working together the last couple of years. They seem to have a relationship where he knows Ginny well and comes over and hangs out and can just walk into the house. So I wonder about Ralphie and Johnny Sack's relationship. So I guess.
Sorry, I screwed up my thing here.
That's okay.
I gotta try to catch up.
So I guess we're right at you need a time code?
I'm good.
Okay. So I don't know. What do you think, Johnny Sack? Do you think he just sees Ralphie as someone that makes a lot of money, so he's trying to help him out in this situation?
He does. He knows Ralphie makes a lot of money. He's a hypocrite because later on in later episodes, when Ralphie is the person who sticks the knife in Johnny Sack's back, he makes the whole thing about, is this all it is, Carmine? Is it just about money? It's just about money. What about my honor? Like, what about all that stuff?
Wait,
So
Ralph fucked your wife? Well, wait, Ralph.
Right.
Wait, Ralph fucked Ginny? What?
Right. Like that whole scene there. He's up in arms that it's all about money, but here he is saying it's all about money.
It's all about money, yeah. And that's where he says the thing about the Sopranos. They always have to vilify somebody. Father was the same way. The mother was the same. The Junior was the same way. Tell him sorry. And what's interesting to me here is that Johnny's telling him to say sorry when we get to the later situation with Tony and
he totally he 100% manipulates the entire thing to just get him into a room together so they have to deal with it.
Exactly. And then later on, the situation you're talking about with the Ginny situation, Tony tells him not to apologize to Johnny. It's interesting that Johnny's like telling him to apologize so much, and then later on, Tony's like, do not apologize.
Well, he tells him not to apologize because apologizing admits that he was wrong.
Exactly.
That's the difference.
Admits guilt.
Here, like, everyone knows that it was actually done.
Black Robin makes a great point. That's an amazing hairpiece. And this being one of the first things I remember because Joey Pantaleone, surprising enough, was in Midnight Run, the movie we were talking about earlier. He has a bit part as one of the the guy that hires the bounty hunters. He's like,
I haven't seen Midnight Run in 20 years.
I believe it's one of Joey Pants' early roles. Again, someone correct me if I'm wrong. He's also in The Fugitive, and I believe.
And Memento. Those are probably his first three that he was known for.
I think he's in The Fugitive. I could be making that up too.
He's definitely in The Fugitive.
Okay, so he's in The Fugitive. I'm pretty fucking sure he's in Midnight Run as well. So, but it is a great hairpiece, and because I love Christopher's reaction later, where he's just it's fucking, and it's interesting how Tony doesn't bent. He doesn't want to talk about all of this with Tracy. It's I don't want to talk about that situation ever again, and if you bring it up, I'll fuck you up. Tony has a lot of balls. Him and his glorified crew.
He does, but he also knows that. You know, he says, "I thought you were going to stick your nose in here."
Yeah, you stick your beak. And that comes to my whole point of the question is, did Johnny Sack move there to stick in his beak, to make sure that New Jersey runs smoothly because they're making a lot of money from them right now through the Esplanade stuff? So Johnny needs to be there on the ground to make sure he watches, to make sure that problems like this don't arise with the guy that makes the most money in the Soprano family. Because basically, if we look where Tony ends up in season 6, where all of his best earners are dead, because all of his earners, there's only good earners are in this cursed crew that everyone dies from. We got Richie, we got him, and we got what happens with Vito later. Like, basically everyone that runs this crew is fucking cursed, and then Paulie gets it later.
Gigi,
I forgot about Gigi in this episode. And yeah, I mean it was Junior's old crew, right? Isn't this what isn't?
Is it Junior's old crew? No, because I think Junior would be more hands-on right here, right now, if it was his old crew.
Maybe, but he does give him advice like you never should have put Gigi over there. Maybe it's just Richie's crew. Maybe it started as Richie's crew.
Also something, Gecko, you're probably realizing this right now. When the show came out, they had no idea how big it was going to be, so I don't think they ever did a proper organization of a family tree.
Yamada. Sorry, Matt.
Who was where?
That's one of my favorite lines of the episode again. Yamada. This is. I even knew he was bald, and the piece was so convincing. I thought that maybe he went bald after The Sopranos. Poor Tracy. We got the dwarf burger, Swamp Beard in the live chat. Saul Goodman. Yes, Johnny did, Phil. Jackie's nude scene for the ladies. So here we get this great scene between Lorraine Bracco and Bogdanovich.
Elliot.
Yeah, Bogdanovich here, who is a director, not a actor usually, but he's awesome as Elliot. Elliot adds a lot to the scenes. They make these scenes with them not completely dissimilar to the scenes with Tony and her. I like how she's influenced by Tony, telling him to shut the fuck up, these interruptions, and being raw. And I don't know. I love all the psychology scenes, both the Tonys and with her, and the few that we get with Carmela at times too. I think anytime that The Sopranos does like a psychology take, it's really good, and they're fun scenes. They're always fun scenes. And Dwarf says, definitely moved over to watch the investment on the construction. That's what I'm thinking too, because it was very convenient. He's coming over there. I'm not here to stick in my beak. I'm not sticking out. You got the New York's got their stuff. The Sopranos, you guys got your stuff.
Well, he has a fucking mansion, and I can't imagine where he would possibly build that in New York City. And New Jersey's just as close. Janice and
Bobby's first original place or eventual place. So in this scene, we hear about Dr. Melfi's progress. We also hear her talk a lot about how she's frustrated with Tracy, with Gloria right now. Is the woman that she's talking about? Like, listen, think, Tracy, you're almost 50 years old now. She's thinking about that. About how she's getting to the point where she's frustrated with dealing with Gloria. And also we hear in that scene how she was going to cry into Tony's arms when he asked to walk her to her car. And then we get this scene. I love how Paulie, not so subtly, is checking Ralphie for a gun because he mentioned earlier he might pull a Jack Ruby. I think it was Paulie that said that. It might have been Syl that said it, but
Syl, yeah.
What season do they introduce Phil Leotardo? I think season 5, Robin. I'm pretty sure maybe at the end of 4. Can you remember?
No, shit. When does he show? I don't remember exactly if it's into season 4 or beginning of season 5. I mean, it's certainly throughout the whole Tony Blundetto thing. I mean,
that's all season 5.
Season 5, right?
So I know he starts becoming more of a character in season 5, but the scene with Tony like fucking up his car and punching him in the car and stuff, that might happen somewhere at the end of season 4. But either season 4 or the beginning of season 5.
Yeah, because she has by that point, Angie has the whole car place going again, and she's like back doing fine of herself, and she pumping Zero.
Oakley says he moved over because his wife had relatives there and for the schools. No, he says just kidding. You got me to watch Invincible. Awesome, Gecko. I hope you're enjoying that show. Well, definitely Joe and I are going to talk about episode by episode of that next year. Gloria, Gloria. Even though I know how to spell it, motherfucker. I was about to spell it incorrectly, even looking at it. That's how bad of a speller I am. Phil appears in the beginning of season 5, says Saul Goodman. Awesome.
I was rude.
This is a fucking Tony. So does Tony do this? I mean, I know he does this because Johnny plays a parent trap on them, basically.
Yep.
Johnny does the parent trap on them. And which basically, is that my answer? What was Johnny's agenda? To pull the parent trap. It's the parent trap.
Tony just wants him. The problem is if you take out Ralphie, if you kill Ralphie, or worse yet, if Ralphie kills Tony, Ralphie kills Tony, it's all fucking upheaval and whatever.
Yes.
If the other thing happens, if they kill Ralphie, his crew does seem to genuinely like him in some way, or at least respect him.
Yes.
And Vito and what's the other guy's name?
I forget his name, but they were both like
the guy who kills himself later. What the fuck's his name?
The guy that was originally supposed to play Ralphie. The
guy, he gets made.
Eugene.
Right. Gene. Yeah.
Gene.
He kicks the shit out of Little Polly later. One of the best scenes in the whole show.
Yep. So this scene after Johnny goes, "Let's get together, yeah. Two is always nice as fucked," and they get together and they have their little moment. So do you think Tony does that just basically for the benefit of like making Ralphie look stupid in front of the other guys?
Yep. Part of it is that. Part of it is, if we don't know it already, we know that Ralphie and what's his name don't like each other at all.
100%. Oh my God, we got Nick Diaz from the motherfucking chat attack in the live motherfucking chat. So if you guys haven't checked it out, and I've said it before, make sure you check out the chat attack, subscribe and follow, and for notifications to see them go live. Lots of awesome shit over there. Great discussions with some great people. And especially if you like freeform kind of open discussions, definitely check out the chat attack. Lots of shit. Tell him Phil the Issues Guy sent ya. But yeah, love Nick. Nick is a funny ass bastard. So, and thank you for the birthday wishes, buddy. So the one that won the lottery, and then he gives Tony his piece and wanted to retire like Joey Bananas. That was like, wasn't that the name of the guy? He's like, I can retire like what's his name, like Joey Bananas. So what kind of, again, I asked this about Tony earlier. What kind of idiot is Ralph running into his house going, I'm gonna kill him. It's like he starts quoting Scarface there. He's like, motherfucker, bah, bah, bah. I'm gonna kill Tony. Okay. I love you, Joey Pants, but Ralphie is a fucking diva. Shut. It was the coke. It was the thing. He's like such a fuck. I talk shit about Tony sometimes, but Ralphie is the worst kind of narcissist. Everything is someone else's fault or another thing created the problem. You know, it's coke. Didn't have my baby.
Don't forget, when he was a kid, he had the clap, so he didn't go hold up Feach on his game that night. So your brother and Jackie were on the fast track to whatever he says. I haven't seen that episode.
And I had the clap because I fucked some hippie bitch from Woodstock. So one of my favorite scenes in the entire episode. I talk about this a lot every time they happen. I feel every time we get a Junior and Tony scene, I feel like treasured. You know, it's a treasured television moment, like a Walt and Jesse scene from Breaking Bad, like when they're together working on something. A lot of Breaking Bad's amazing. We're not going to get into the whole Breaking Bad Sopranos thing tonight, but
we already did that last week.
We did that last week for a while. But my point is, like when Odo and Quark on Deep Space Nine, Sam and Diane on Cheers, like sometimes when you get two characters together, the actors just have such chemistry that it jumps off, and that's the case with these two. I cannot get enough of Junior and Tony scenes.
And again, he's one of those handful of people on the show that can hold a scene with Tony and not be overwhelmed by it. And he can do that.
It's because
Christopher can do that. Christopher can do that. He can do it. Janice can. But we've been over this a million
It's
times.
because it's because those handful of actors, and we might miss people. You know, obviously Joey Pants, but from the main group, we got Tony, we got Dominic here, we got we got
So you're kidding, right? I'm totally 100%. No, I'm just tired and had a long day. I'm not upset at all. I have resting bitch face. My default look is just annoyed, and that's what I'm watching the show now.
So yeah, Littlefinger and Varys, they have that chemistry too. It's like certain characters that have that kind of chemistry just elevate a scene, and these two elevate scenes together.
Not by that crew.
Yeah, right here.
Them he's a Ghibellini.
A Ghibellini. Where the fuck's a Ghibellini?
They don't trust him. They undermine him. On top of that, you got Ralph now pissing in their ears. Any day you'll have a mutiny on your hands.
Oh, this is a great scene.
It's great.
What kind of message is that, son? That you're indecisive
Yeah, you're.
and unsure of yourself.
And this almost spells where Junior's like Syl.
The fuck would I replace him with anyway?
All good questions.
Great. It's the fucking answer.
Who says there is one? That's what being a boss is. You steer the ship the best way you know.
He's saying all of that, I think, not because he knows how to be boss, because he's been around this thing since day one, advising his younger brother, as his younger brother took over the family, and was such an important part. But I don't think Johnny Boy would have got the success Johnny Boy did without Junior advising him in the way that Tony had so much success because of Syl always being there to center him in the right situations. So I do think there's some balance between Junior and Syl that I think exists that I might want to explore later in a separate video. I really do love it. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the sub. Fernandez fucking T with a super chat donation. Holy shit, Fernandez T. I got to get up and spin the fucking wheel. Saul Goodman was honest. No, Matt does not upset easy. He just
No, unless it's a direct attack on, that one night when it was direct attack on members of my family besides and my dog. Remember that guy wanted to have sex?
Oh
with
yeah,
my
the guy
dog
wanted to have
all
sex with Matt's dog and your
Yeah.
sisters or something like that. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
no,
that was hot.
No, Matt's a sweetheart. He just has resting bitch face, as he said.
I honestly do. It would be so hard, and I get fired up easily. But it's
Spinning the wheel for you. Spinning the wheel. Let's see. Let's land on the wheel. Fernandez fucking T. It lands on. Boom! Okay, Fernandez T. I gotta take a fucking shot for you, buddy. Gotta take a shot for
Hey,
Fernandez.
here's the question.
Oh, he says puff, puff, pass. I could do that too, but Fernandez lands on ticket.
This is even a better question. Not a better question, but this is a totally different question here. What does Tony do if Gigi doesn't die? That's a whole other question. What's the play if Gigi doesn't die here?
He might kill Ralph. He might. I think he has no choice, I think does he decide not to kill Ralph when? But first of all, I just want to get through this. So is there a worse way to go and I love all this funny talk. We're gonna get into some factoids about what they're actually talking about. The guy from The Simpsons. It was a guy named Don Simpson that died on the toilet, or Elvis or whatever. I love the inane talking. But to your point, I don't know. Does what Ralphie did in that situation, the apology, enough for Tony not to kill him? Or does Tony still kill him if Gigi doesn't die?
The problem is at that point, Ralphie not getting anything is going to continue to push it further and further until Ralphie decides to do something crazy. All you need is Ralphie back on coke one night, and it's a totally different thing.
Oh, thank you, fucking Fernandez, for that shot. Ooh, it hit right. And yeah, Gecko says, don't take it personally, Matt. Your dog's really, really hot.
Dude, my dog is 12. She is 100 years old at this point. I mean, she looks fucking old.
Does she look?
It's like being into Livia. It's like being into.
I was just gonna say.
You
Wait.
relate to this because you're totally into Livia.
Wait. Tell me more. I want you. I need you, Rosie. So here we get this scene where basically this is the moment where he's already decided he's not going to kill him. But as we know later, when we fast forward to a season from now, and I know Gex says he doesn't matter, but he's past this point anyway. When the Pyomai situation pops up together, Tony never forgets this. I know we can get into this then, and I don't want to get into a huge debate about it now. I think Tony kills him for as much for Tracy at that point as he does for Pyomai. I think his anger because of the animal thing drives him when he's screaming on Ralphie, an innocent thing. It was an innocent thing. I think he's definitely talking about Tracy as well. I don't think he's just talking about.
It's just he'd love to kill Ralphie. If Ralphie was a shitty earner, Ralphie would be dead already.
Right.
This wouldn't be an issue.
So do you think? What do you think happens if you ask me the question, you answer it? What do you think happens if he doesn't die the worst way ever? First of all, is that the worst way to go? Trying to take a shit and blow in a gasket? Would that be one of the worst ways to go?
No, because it's not publicly humiliating, except in front of a few of your friends. Yeah, it's certainly humiliating.
Does it really matter being publicly humiliated when you die, or it's like self?
I heard this story, Matthew McConaughey telling this story on Howard Stern, that his dad died while he was having sex with his mom, and his dad had a really big dick. So when the ambulance showed up to take him out of the house, they covered the body up, and his mother ripped it off and said, "I want everyone to see how well endowed my husband was," and like ran out mad. Like that's.
I want to marry
someone. I don't know
someone
if that's
like
a good
that.
or a bad thing.
No, I want to marry
Matthew
someone.
His mom, which is wild.
Yeah, that's awesome. His mother sounds like an amazing lady that I wouldn't mind hanging out with.
He's so laid back. That's the whole thing.
All right. Okay, so we need Sorry Walking David if you're listening to this at some point. That was a horrible McConaughey compared to yours.
Yeah, Gecko. Again, you really.
He blew his O-ring.
The thing is, Gecko, like you have to bring in an actor the caliber of Joey Pants to stand up against Tony. That's
in so many scenes.
Why that's one of the reasons that they're so great together.
No, I agree with what Dwarf was saying there. Losing your mind, especially, it would be the worst. Like losing your.
Not for you. It's the worst for someone else.
Dealing with you.
People
Yeah.
I've been around with Alzheimer's is the worst to watch.
I mean, yeah. I dealt with it with my Livia, and it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because they legitimately forget about the shit that they did or that they're good and bad. So it's hard to hold them accountable. So you're the one that weighs the weight. It's hard to say what it's like to those people, but it's so hard for the people around you.
Oakley, and he was a captain, so you're right. There could be worse things than
He
that.
did, yeah, he did die in his throne with booze and Playboys. That doesn't sound too bad to me. So here we go with, let's talk over this. I don't really care. So, yeah, Ralph, Jackie Jr. is going to have...
Yeah, this is such a weird scene anyways. Like, she gets in this car, like, I don't even get
Could
it.
they not figure out any other way to have her...
Yeah, so why don't we have her take his shitty car and drive it off a thing, then act like the car was really much important.
And
much
I
more
hate to
important
say...
than it was.
Yeah, and we talking about chemistry, these two actors have zero... She had way more chemistry with Turtle on Entourage. She just doesn't... Or Finn, or the guy that comes later.
Yeah.
Like, her and Jackie just have shit chemistry. He's not a horrible actor. He plays this dickbag well. Like, it's not like we talked about this before. I don't think the actor that plays Jackie Jr. is inherently a horrible actor like some other people that we've had on the show. But I think it's all in how they write his character and just these scenes. I just don't care. Like, what was that?
Right. Literally, where does that come from?
But like, you know what we're gonna do? We gotta come up with a clever way for them to have sex.
She's gonna run out, and what they're gonna do is she's gonna drive. She can't leave the parking lot, but there's gonna be a cliff in the parking lot behind a bar with no guardrail, and they'll just be there, and they'll never worry about a drunk person driving off the quote-unquote ledge. It's like
that will make her ditch him because she's supposed to go somewhere else, but this will make her want to spend the night with him, and they'll finally have sex. That's how we get there.
Yeah, and this car we're gonna act like is a big deal, even though we've never mentioned the car before.
Yeah, and then we're gonna call it in stolen because I'm a good guy because I don't care about my car and I just want to have sex with you. Aren't I great? Like it's just we talk a lot about really good Sopranos writing and good stuff because Devin's writing the live. He's like, Jackie Jr.'s a weak character, and again I'll say I don't think he's a weak character because of the actor's performance. I think he's a weak character because the character is structured and written weakly.
I mean, he's right now sort of right behind, like, almost where Christopher was at the beginning of season 1 as far as his progression into whatever. But, like, Christopher was so much better written, that character was. Like, I'm saying where his place is in the world right now. You know, he's getting in the way Christopher was, and maybe a little behind that.
A little behind.
But Christopher's written so well, you know, and
yeah.
He just isn't.
And I would say even those other two idiots that one that shot
Bevilacqua and
we're better version
Wabistics.
Yeah, we're better version of this kind of character than Jackie Jr. And that's another thing that makes Jackie Jr.'s story a little redundant at this point in the series because I feel like we did something very similar with those two idiots.
But they weren't royalty. He's royalty.
I guess, but maybe they should have combined the stories and the way they structured it and like saved.
How many mob bosses get to just like and this is fucked up to say, but get to like almost the luxury of dying of cancer. They don't get killed because everyone else ends up dead at some point.
Dead or in jail. Just before we get past this scene, because it's the last scene of the episode, I believe, or the ending here, Tony shows up here out of nowhere, charms her with one look.
Does she know who he is?
Not yet, I don't think, dude. That's a good question. They were asking this at the talk. I don't think so yet. I think she starts to... How big is Tony Soprano? Steve Sharippa was asking this question on the Talking Sopranos, and it's a good question. In this New Jersey community, how big is Tony Soprano? How many people in Massachusetts, because we'll do it to ourselves, the A family that we know, how many people in our community, besides the people that knew them, know about that? Would know that name? Would anybody know that name if one of the member of that family showed up at a car dealership trying to pick up a girl? Probably not.
Well, okay, yes, but here's the difference. He goes through that whole thing at Junior's house where he's like, wasn't there a guy named Trillo who had a bunch of daughters who was in the... If you ask an Italian, Phil, from any of those Italian towns near where we grew up, they know that.
Yeah, they would know that shit. Yeah.
So my point is, she's Italian, Gloria Trillo. They said her dad was kind of connected, or her granddad was kind of connected. So I think because of that, she may know. So and he's on the news. I mean, he's not John Gotti, obviously, where like literally it's a household name. But
is he at this point? It's inconclusive at this moment. I love the way this episode ends with foreboding doom, where he just Melfi hears Tony's voice. I swear she hears his fucking voice and like knows it's him. The look on her face is just like so knowing, and the song is perfect. Like the way the song leads into the end of the episode is just very beautifully done. That's David Chase at his best, picking the perfect song leading in, and this is regardless of the Jackie Jr. and Meadow stuff, which is going to be wrapped up in a few episodes, and we'll never have to deal with it again. Thank goodness. And I think the Jackie Jr. stuff, once him and Meadow break up, is a little easier to deal with. Him with the card game and getting whacked and all that stuff, and living in the projects with Omar from The Wire, I think is better than anything we deal with him before that. I like his relation, because that's one of those examples. We'll get to this later, but where I'm not to say it's not the actor, because in the scenes that we have when he's in the project staying with Omar and the little girl, he actually has chemistry with the little girl acting when he's playing chess, and Omar's giving him advice, being like, you should have completed that move there. Like him and the actor that plays Omar on the like have good chemistry, or at least he brought something out of Jackie Jr. a little bit more than Meadow did or anybody else did with him on screen. So again, I don't want to blame the actor, but when they give him stuff or chemistry is important, or they give him stuff to work with, which like that, the stuff with the chess game had more stakes to it. So I cared a little bit more.
The other problem is, like, if they don't kill him, what happens to Jackie Jr.? Like, that's the other thing. I guess
he becomes Hugo Boss. He goes to fashion school.
Yeah.
No, exactly. By reintroducing him into the mix, he's a character that needs to die by the end of the season. I actually seem to like. It actually seems like a great idea at the time. Saul, what would Saul say? Saul said, Jackie Jr. dying is indeed very easy to deal with. Yeah, it is. It is. And I like how it happens. I like we're starting to get more Vito as time goes on. And I like Vito in these
Gecko, I don't know if you were watching our early episodes, but I'm sure you noticed that
Vito
was 100% in two different episodes as two different people before he was ever Vito.
Yeah, it is fun stuff. And yes,
so weird that they did that.
And I love that we got to see the Stugats. We got a couple of factoids to get to before we end this episode. And if anyone has any last minute comments or questions and you want to get them in, get your voice in the show, you can do that at 781-990-8509 and leave Matt and I a voicemail about your thoughts of this episode or anything about The Sopranos or any series question about a episode that's yet to come or an episode in the past. And you can call that number whenever you're listening to this, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we will listen to the message and we can play them at a later show. So if you're watching this later, just when you leave the voicemail, say this is a voicemail for the Sopranos show. So I know specifically it's not for Joe and I's random stuff or one of our other topics. But let's get into it. I got some factoids here. So Aaron Arkaway sleeps through most of his scenes in this episode. He's the guy that plays the He Is Risen dude. But in real life, the actor Turk Pipkin is a very active guy. He's a TV writer, author, filmmaker, activist, and comedian. Chase is an equal opportunist offender. Aaron Arkaway may represent classic Chase's criticism of something, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Actor John Fieri hosts a corny documentary called The Sopranos Unauthorized. He says his character's death on the toilet, hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go. That Silvio says that Don something of The Simpsons died in a toilet too. He's thinking of Don Simpson, producer of several hits including Top Gun and Flashdance. Now, Christ may have risen 2,000 years ago, but he hasn't appeared since. I guess Reverend James from season 2, whatever, has gotten tired of... whatever. Silvio Dante's...
Right over there?
Yeah, it's just a stupid one. There's some I'm like reading, I'm like, whatever. Todd something provides a very thoughtful and almost poetic write-up of this episode over at av.com. I won't get into it here other than to note that his observations are when Tony and Gloria exit the Globe Motors, they drive against a road sign. From its inception, the relationship is heading in a bad direction. Now, this episode could be a reference to Aaron's Janice narcoleptic boyfriend, as I mentioned before, but no, it's about so many different characters rising. The voiceover of the Mercedes TV commercial, which Tony watches before going to bed with Carmela, which makes him think of Gloria, is voiced by Joe Montana, who also voices the mob boss Fat Tony on The Simpsons, and is also Joey Zaza in Godfather 3, which now makes sense to me why I could never take the character of Joey Zaza in the Godfather 3 seriously, because it always reminded me of Fat Tony. So my brain automatically shut him off trying to do a serious mafia guy. I'm like, oh no, that's fucking Fat Tony. That doesn't work.
Not to be confused with Tony Pajamas.
Not Tony Pajamas.
No, totally different.
Tony Pajamas! Sorry. So the song that played during the end credits is The Captain by Casey Chambers. Throughout the series, 6 characters make malapropisms. Tony confuses Prince Machiavelli, a woman's perfume maker, with Machiavelli. And the 60s song, Wind Song. Oh, yeah. With Prince Machiavelli, a woman's perfume maker from the 60s, with Prince Machiavelli. So it's one of those classic Tony Sopranos, like he knows, like his Cliff Clavinism. I would almost like to see Cliff Clavin.
No, we call that a Carmine Jr.ism.
Yeah, a Carmine Jr.ism. It is. Which, I love Carmine Jr. He's fucking hilarious. 2 more obvious product placement examples in this episode, Mercedes-Benz, obviously, and Snapple that Johnny Sack was drinking. When Tony tells Carmela to disinvite Ralphie and Roe for Thanksgiving, he references the Jetsons, Mr. Spacely Sprockets. This isn't Spacely Sprockets, for fuck's sake, here. And lastly, but not least, when Jackie Jr. pulls Meadow out of the crash car, she screams in pain, only to reveal that her purse is stuck. This is a nod to a scene in Jean-Claude Godard's 1967 film Weekend, in which this could answer our question right here, Matt, in which a wealthy married protagonist of the film gets into a horrible car accident, and the wife screams in anguish, only to reveal that her designer bag has been ruined. Considered Weekend 1967 as heavy-handed commentary of bourgeois lifestyles, and The Sopranos comments on the decay of capitalism in America. This could be seen as a comment on Meadow's spoiled upbringing, especially considering Jackie Jr. calls her a brat, like in Godfather 3 a moment earlier. And those are our factoids for this episode, according to IMDb in Sopranos Autopsy. They're not my factoids. I steal them. At least I give credit for stealing them, unlike some other podcasts that pretend that they're their own ideas that they find from somebody else.
If anyone here isn't from Boston, Phil just committed one of the main reasons you never see a good Boston accent done on TV. We actually throw R's in places they don't belong.
The idea.
Like in the word, I say idea all the time.
I do
with
too.
an R in the end.
I can't help it.
My R's are gone. Ka, mother, father, brother.
Ka, yeah.
But idea. I put the R at the end of it.
Dude, that's a word I can't. And I don't know if it's a town we grew up in.
It's a Boston thing. It's a Boston thing, dude. But no one when people make Boston, there's a reason why you never hear a very good Boston accent, because it's that stupid shit that doesn't make sense. Like putting the R at the end that doesn't.
What's awful is sometimes it's actually Boston people doing them, like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting do horrible Boston.
They were raised with too much money. You got to be like we have a little one from Swampscott, but like it's not like my mom and her friends from Lynn. Like that's a whole other level.
Now let's get into it. How many people have died on the toilet? We got a bunch. Was that one of the facts about how many people died on the toilet? We got Elvis. We got Jim Morrison. No, he died in the bathtub. We got
Jim Morrison is alive, Phil. Get over it.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's hanging out with, and so is Elvis.
Also, by the way, the Doors I don't love the Doors. Their cover of the song
Gloria,
just to bring it is
the best version of Gloria. I agree. It's
maybe one of the best Doors songs. Period. Is their cover of Gloria.
I would agree. I love their version of Gloria. That and the song "Blood in the Streets" are my two favorite Doors songs. Blood in the street in the heart of Chicago.
5 to 1. I like
5 to 1.
It's those deeper like hit songs. That
They're more raw stuff. And yes, Machiavelli wrote The Prince, where Tony calls him Machiavelli or whatever he said, which is actually a perfume maker, which is a funny little factoid. Tony's was better in the Pillsbury fucking Doughboy. And while I remember the cover of the Ghoulies, I don't remember the actual toilet death. Okay, comrade, you guys
remember the Ghoulies? But the Ghoulies was a movie in the 80s, but I don't remember what it was about.
Yeah, I don't remember it too well.
In my head, it's the Goonies.
Now, one question before we call this, as Jay has. Before we, they're all in Argentina with Hitler and Elvis making having coffee, hiding from the world in an island in an underground tunnel in Argentina. Where was it? Okay, who's better at their criminalism? And this isn't about the show, but who is better at the criminalism? Tony Soprano or Walter White? I'll answer first. Tony, because he sustains it for much, much longer. Walter makes too many enemies too quick and allows his ego and his freaking cockiness and his stuff to affect it more than Tony's does. Tony also thinks he's a little smarter than some people, but he knows how to play people and talk to people better than Walter. Walter has no people skills. Zero.
If Walter's crystal meth was that much worse, he would have been killed immediately.
He got so lucky with Tuco with that whole thing. If that thing didn't work, was it Tuco or Slipper? No,
it was Tuco. But that honestly is the worst scene in the entire series when he like throws that explosive thing. It's so dumb. But he should have been killed a million times, and he wasn't. He was very bad at what he did. He got very, very lucky. Tony is in control of almost all the situations that he's in.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw a perfect example of it tonight. Like he just makes Ralph his bitch come and like.
I wouldn't say Tony is the best television or movie criminal we've ever seen in the sense of a mafia don or a boss of a crime organization. I would say
that's because it's a glorified crew, Phil.
It is a glorified crew. You're right. You're right. I was going to call you Tony. You're right.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're right. You're right, Antonio. It is a glorified crew. Anthony. Listen, Anthony, you don't have to lie to his mother. But I think that would actually be a fun video. Jay, so I want to write a text to myself, or text me this quickly if you can, or at some point, or someone message me this. Matt, send me a Facebook message this right now. I want to do a video or something, or a podcast comparing who are the best fictitious criminal empires ever. Yeah, because it could be a good question. I'd like to put Stringer Bell up against Tony Soprano. I'd like to think about some of those characters, or even some of the movie characters, Don Corleone from what we've seen about him, or Michael Corleone compared to Don Corleone, compared to Tony Soprano, compared to Stringer Bell, compared to Walter White. There's that compared to freaking what's his name from the Showtime series, Ray Donovan. Take all sorts of, have a big battle royal where you talk about weird. So yeah, that might be a fun show to do at some point in the future. So thank you for messaging me that.
Saul, before we go, I do want to say.
Oh, Nancy Botwin would be in that conversation as well too.
When you thought I was mad before, I need you here, Saul, to call me out on my bullshit for defending Tony.
Yeah, it makes it so much. Yeah,
it is such a very important part of this, because I always am like, think that Phil's just making up the fact that I'm like a total Tony defender, and I am, and I still don't even see what's wrong with that. That's what's even more fucked up. Maybe there's something wrong with me. That's what I'm realizing now. I was like, dude, is it me? Is there something fucked up that I don't see him as a monster that he is?
Yeah. No, and I think it's because of relativism. I think it's the relativism of the other characters that we see around him. And you're right, within the relative universe of the Sopranos universe, which is a bunch of, every single one of them is a fucking piece of shit by basic moral standards of the
He's
fucking.
He's not the biggest piece of shit.
He's not the big. I would agree. He is on the side. He's not the best, but he's not the biggest piece of shit. He's not quite on the two sides. We have Ralphie and Bobby. And
sure.
And Tony is I think a little bit more towards Ralphie than Bobby, but he's not. But I'd feel safer around Tony.
No. If there's a middle point between Ralphie and Bobby, I think Tony.
You think Tony's the middle point?
Maybe even closer to Bobby than Ralphie.
Who do you think's closer to Ralphie? Christopher and Paulie? And who's closer?
I think Paulie's closer to Ralphie.
And I think Christopher.
Paulie does like fucked up shit. Paulie will just like.
And I think Syl and Furio.
Maybe Syl's the middle.
I think Syl and Furio are a little. I think Furio's definitely closer to Bobby. Even though he's a horrible fucking
dude. No, he beats the Tony brings him here because he kicks the shit out of an 11-year-old kid who set fireworks off.
True.
His first scene in America is beating the shit out of a woman with like he walks through the fucking massage parlor, beating women left and right that are totally innocent and have nothing to do with it.
Tony, Casanova Frankenstein. It will definitely be on the list.
Although now here I am being a hypocrite because Tony's sitting in the car laughing while Furio's beating women up inside.
Oh yeah, he's fucking horror, dude. And again, every time you bring up that Ralphie, like, notice every time you bring this up, because Ralphie's still going to be around for a while, you bring up what he did to Georgie with the nunchuck thing, with the chain. I get a little twinkle in my eye because Tony is way worse. If we're using what's done to Georgie as the litmus test, Tony is way worse to Georgie than Ralphie ever is. Ralphie does that one thing. Tony fucks.
One time Ralphie takes his eye out.
Three times. Who gets Georgie to quit? Tony, not Ralphie, because Tony beats the shit out of him too fucking much, and he reaches his breaking point because of Tony.
Why did Tony beat up his bodyguard that time that he knew couldn't hit him back? They could have obviously.
Because he had to prove that he was as tough as knockoff Vin Diesel. Fuck. He wanted to. That was a Simba needing to kill Scar moment where he was like, he needed to be like, I'm tougher than the Scar needing to kill Simba. I mean.
Now I'm mad at you and Saul because I realize I'm a piece of shit. That's my problem.
Okay, but again, people bring up that's why this will be a really fun podcast, because we will talk about pretty much all the awesome criminals, television movie criminals. Matt,
doing movies too?
Movies too. We'll bring movies too.
So it's like we can bring in.
I think we should do a series of, like, again, we can talk about this a little off air, but I think the most fun way of doing this would be doing a series of one-on-one debates, like making a tournament, making a bracket tournament where people nominate people and we fill out a bracket. Maybe we figure out a number, whether it be 48, whatever, like, or less or whatever, like 24, like narrow it down or something.
Can we use like Jules from Pulp Fiction? Like,
yeah,
is he
fuck
game
yes.
with this?
Yeah, fuck yes. Jules from Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson's character from Jackie Brown, whatever. Excuse me. De Niro from Heat, which is another movie character who definitely could have gotten away with it if it wasn't for one or two mistakes. A very careful criminal. So it would be one of those things where we do a nomination episode. This is what I'm thinking in my head. We do a nomination podcast where we can have other people on too, Matt. Do it as sort of a group thing. Yeah, because
the problem with me is, I haven't seen nearly
right.
enough.
Yeah, no, we can. But that's what I'm saying.
I just suck. So.
You can be on certain episodes. Like we'll do. I'll break it apart where we have 24 people, 12 matchups, and that's 12 different casts where we do the debate for a half an hour, 45 minutes between the two characters, and then at the end we vote and figure out who goes through, and then we do the rounds, the matchups until we get to our winner. So something like that. That's how I'm framing this, the basis of this. I have to do a little planning. I have to draw a graph. Maybe hire Dorkburger to draw me a map on how to get my head out of my ass and get this done.
And this discussion has to happen later. We're not putting people like the Emperor or like we're not that type of bad person.
We can discuss we'll discuss off air the rules on who's nominatable. Right. Maybe we could put Palpatine, but not the Emperor, because Palpatine in those first three movies does do some criminal, weird manipulation type stuff.
Listen, Han Solo's a criminal. Like,
he shot first. Yeah, motherfucker shot first. Fucking horrible asshole. Jurassic Park was the best toilet death. The Count of Monty Pooper.
That's funny.
Mr. Burns. Yeah, Mr. Burns too. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will be back in 2 weeks to talk about the next episode, which I'm not sure what it's called.
It is called, time out.
Is it From Here to Eternity, maybe? Is that what it's called?
That is possible.
I know, I could be wrong about that. Matt's gonna look that up.
Yeah, just give me an hour to look this up and we'll be good.
He just has to log in his phone again.
No, it's not loading, of course.
Now Gecko says De Niro, like The Sopranos, showed the vacancy required in the level of successfulness as a criminal. You have to have no attachments. Is the money worth it? Yeah, and in that thing, what basically screws De Niro in Heat, spoiler alert for Heat if you've never seen it, was that he's so still angry at the dude with the mustache and the mullet hair. I forget the actor that plays him or the character's name in it. He's so pissed that he's got away with it. He escaped. He severed ties with the girl that he loved. He was ready to leave and go, but then at the last minute, he gets the information from Jon Voight's character on where he can find the cowboy, and he can't help his revenge. That one thing brings him down. And as I'm trying to distract enough, as Black Robin in the live chat says, ... 30 minutes later of Phil talking, Matt's still looking for the episodes.
I can't find it. Like literally my HBO Max won't load anymore.
No, I'm gonna beat you with Google.
Seriously,
3,
I'm doing that.
Episode 9.
One of the worst criminals of all time is Joe Pesci in Casino. Cannot contain himself, and he just ruined it.
The next episode is the Telltale Mademoiselle, which is Tony surprises Carmela with a sapphire ring, and Christopher gives Adriana her own music club. Anthony Jr. is busted for vandalism.
Telltale Mademoiselle. All right, I'm in.
Oh, this is the next one. Someone was mentioning this earlier. This is the episode that you trashed the pool on your mother's birthday. This is the your mother's birthday episode. This is
Oh, it's an AJ episode.
Is this the one where he Is this the one where he steals the test and he pisses, or is this the pool? It's the steals the test. It's
the pizza in the pool. I don't even remember.
This is either correct. I don't know yet. It's either the pizza in the pool when Lady Gaga's there. Lady Gaga's in that scene, but I think have we already done that episode? It might be where him and his friends steal the answers to the math test, and then they urinate, and the principal convinces him that they have his DNA from the urine, and they both like cop to it.
It could be that.
I think it's that. I think.
For all of those people who haven't been watching us for like a few years doing this, please understand again. The reason Phil and I can't remember any of this stuff again. We took a 900-day break. In
fair, Matt, I think we're doing pretty good remembering random Sopranos facts here.
We are, but I don't remember if we saw the episode or not.
Right? No,
it would have been 4 years ago that we watched it.
Yeah, and these things blend. I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's the pool Lady Gaga one, and then I think later on in the season we get the we get the thing because there's the episode Army of One or whatever, or the final episode of the season where Tony brings them to military schools and shit, and I think whatever the second vandalism is, I don't know. We'll get into it. We'll watch that next week.
I think the last big AJ episode we had was the football one where he passes out at the end.
Okay.
The last like AJ centric episode, and that was just a few months ago.
So everybody, we will be back in 2 weeks. On
I don't have a poker game to play on Tuesday night.
Yeah. Matt, as we learned earlier, has the bad luck crew, and we'll
now the possessed phone. Whoever set up my haunted phone.
And we will be back on actually June 1st to discuss, I believe Tuesday, June 1st, to discuss the next episode of The Sopranos, the Telltale Mademoiselle.
After Memorial Day weekend. Come right back into it.
Exactly. And I will be on very soon. I'll be on tomorrow night on Teflon TV with Bridge 4 and Tony to talk some Sansa Stark in Winds of Winter. I will also be back maybe this Sunday with Joe, and I am streaming on my Twitch channel the last couple of nights a Legend of Zelda remake of the original that was made by Nintendo and was only broadcasted briefly in Japan. So it's kind of a ROM of it that I've been playing. It's called BS Zelda, not Bullshit Zelda. But I might pop on there sometime in the next couple of nights as well. And also Joe and I are, as we're waiting for other shows to talk about, waiting for the next Joe and I random conversation. But if you haven't checked it out already and you enjoyed the show Invincible, check out Joe and I's last review of the final episode of Invincible. And also I released a short video of a Joe rant about a fight between Superman and Batman and who would win that fight. So if you haven't checked that out already, please do as well. as it's the most recent video on the channel, and it's always if you need your Joe rant fix and you haven't gotten it in a while, I highly recommend checking that out. So yeah, I'll be back there, and I'll be back sometime later in the week as well, and for something next week, gonna pick some random topic. I also have a couple of interesting crossovers and guests coming on soon. Sometime in the next couple of months, I will have a couple of really big, awesome guests joining, and I will be doing a crossover with some old friends that I haven't talked to in a while. I'm very excited to reconnect with. So for a very fun conversation where the Sopranos might in fact come up. So everyone, thank you so much. Matt, thank you as always for taking some time.
You didn't get Johnny Sack to come on, right? We talked about that. That's not the old guest.
He said he's thinking about it. He's
all right.
Why do you think I was so high on Johnny Sack tonight and doing like the episode title based around Johnny Sack? You know, that's
just throwing that line out there, see if he'll bite. Yeah, I like it.
Percy Garcia in the live motherfucking chat. Great to see you, Percy. I talk about this. I was talking with somebody about this on a live stream a couple of nights ago. Invariably, in every single live stream I've ever done, there's one person I want to babble to and talk to that is that pops in the chat right at the end, and I have to be like, "Oh, welcome, Percy." By the way, I'll talk to you guys next time. Later. Goodbye. But guys, I may turn on the Twitch after this once I settle in, have a couple of snacks. I'm a little buzzed, so I kind of still want to stream a little bit after this. So I might turn on my Twitch channel and do a little bit of Zelda streams if you guys want to join me over there. If not, I'll be on very soon. Thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. I also want to say thank you to my family, because I know some of my family watches this thing, for all pitching in. My cousins and my aunts pitched in and got me a cameo. For Nana Visitor, who's right behind me from Deep Space Nine, wishing me a happy birthday, singing me happy birthday, and giving me some random Deep Space Nine stories. It was really, really awesome. I've had it's been a weird year and a tough year. So like waking up yesterday morning, and like that's what those cameo things are fucking awesome. Waking up yesterday morning and having like the voice of one of my favorite characters on from one of my favorite TV shows being like, "Phil, this is your birthday and happy birthday." I was just like I didn't even hear the whole rest of the 5 minutes. Once I heard Kira say my name, that's her character name, Kira Nerys say Phil, and then she starts singing happy birthday, Phil. It's let me see if I can play with two seconds of it, of just the birthday song from Kira Nerys. So yeah, those cameo things are kind of fun, and it was.
Yeah, your cousin. Well, I'm not going to talk about your cousin. Forget it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Phil. Happy birthday to you. I hope you have a wonderful day. I have a feeling you're going to be having a
So that was the start of it. She ended up talking for like 5 minutes about Deep Space Nine shit and whatever. So it was really cool. It was a very, very sweet gift from my family. That it's good when you know your family gets you like that. You know, it would be like certain shows. It would be someone like, I know Johnny Sack actually does cameos. It'd be like someone getting me a Johnny Sack cameo, or getting me like a Game of Thrones cameo,
or Olivia one, and they just do what they did in the last episode she was in, which is piece together a bunch of other shit she said from earlier.
She's just going like this.
The name Phil into it.
Yeah. Tony. Everyone, and DJ Better also popping in. Thank you guys, everyone, for checking this out tonight that popped in. You guys are awesome. We love, Matt and I were talking about this off air. We love how some of you guys are joining us every 2 weeks and jumping in the chat and making this part of your week, every part of your monthly fun, bi-monthly fun. We really do appreciate you guys doing this, because Matt and I would do this for nobody alone here live.
It's way more fun to have people call us out on bullshit and to like add other stuff to it.
Exactly. So thank you guys. And Forrest in the live chat too. Thank you so much. These guys are sweet. So talk to you guys later. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this, hit a like button, hit a subscribe button, pass this shit around, tell somebody about it. It's harder than ever to get people's attention out here. So if you know someone that might like our silly brand of bullshit, bring them in. Have them join the fun. But you guys are so amazing. Thank you to Fernandez T for the super chat donation. That's always incredible, and that got me a little buzzed. So thank you, Fernandez. We love you guys. We'll be back very soon. Talk to you soon, Matt. Thank you.
We're still on, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, we are right now.
I'm going with it. It's fine.
Yeah, we're going. But wait, no. We're not now. We're not now. We're good. We're off.